Abusuafo ne ahwefo emu bi akobade ba Unidek TV so send the day kan obodi answer betumi emi subscribe button no so no subscribe na for like na wetumi a share no we comment was ne betumi.
You know, it's your boy Captain to the Planet. I'm here to talk to you about Unidek TV. Please subscribe to Unidek TV. Subscribe.
Thank you, Leader of Government Business. Let me deal with the issue of the CJ's removal, whether or not we are going to participate in any process. For us, all the cards are on the table. First of all, we see the conduct of the Puaman Committee as a travesty of justice. I mean, what that committee has done, the purported recommendation, should prick their own conscience, all the committee members. A referral has been made to you as a committee, and at least 4 of the members of the committee are judges, a retired Supreme Court judge and 2 sitting Supreme Court judges. You have 3 petitions before you. You are done with the hearing of 1. You tell the person, the respondent, being Her Ladyship Justice Gov't-Afenyo-Markins Torkornoo, and her lawyers, that come back on the 15th for us to begin the hearing of the second petitioner's petition. Then suddenly, the second petitioner's lawyers write for a long adjournment, and out of the blue, a report is purportedly done recommending her removal, and within 2 hours, the report is fully studied and recommendation as made is complied with or adhered to or decision taken. The Puaman Committee must be ashamed of itself. That committee has reduced our democracy to something that cannot have a phrase to describe. That you are a committee, a constitutional body, a constitutional committee under Article 146. You have been given a docket, so to speak, to handle. You are not done with the hearing. You say you are done with the decision. I'm sure if our friends were in office, were in opposition, and this had happened under an MPP government, hell would have broken loose. I'm sure the noise they will make in this country. But you know, our approach is different, to follow due process and engage the attention of the country. That is why we keep raising these things. In any event, the respondent, Gov't-Afenyo-Markins Torkornoo, the Chief Justice, has a case in court challenging the constitutionality of the actions that have been brought against her, raising issue of procedural irregularities. And these are matters that are before the court, at the High Court, at the Supreme Court. And if you see the rate at which the Supreme Court itself move with some speed to expeditiously hear the injunction application, yet fail to expeditiously determine the substance of the matter, it tells you so many things. And I'm speaking to the Supreme Court of our country. you have a plaintiff who comes with a constitutional matter and comes with an interrogatory application. You hear the interrogatory application, but the main application, you are not in a rush to determine. You go to the High Court. The High Court, the matter is before the High Court. There is no hurry to determine it. You leave it in abeyance. Then my Lord Puaman is in a hurry to sign, quote unquote, the death warrant of his colleague. What my Lord Puaman forgot is that when he was nominated as a Supreme Court judge, there were matters against him at the General Legal Council, Parliament. Some people petitioned Parliament that because the matter has not been determined, we should stop the hearing. But Honorable Ketiamo prevailed on colleagues, though he was in opposition, and said, no, there must be fairness. The man has been nominated. We as Parliament, we have vetted him. We have to be fair and not say that because somebody is doing this against him, that should stop Parliament. So we have to be fair. People must always think about tomorrow. A certain precedent is being set that blots the beautiful democracy we otherwise have. So now, my Lord Bafuboni is now being nominated. A matter is pending in the Ghanaian court and also at the ECOWAS court. The ECOWAS court, there was an interim relief. As we speak, the Attorney General has not filed a process to respond to the substantive matter, at least through the press release that was put out by Her Ladyship Justice, the Chief Justice. She is a plaintiff in the matter at the ECOWAS court. So we must ask ourselves, what do we want to achieve? Sometimes our friends talk about certain things that happened to them yesterday. I will repeat this for the umpteenth time. This, you do me, I do you. Oh, it happened yesterday, it must happen today. To what end? So that, for the sake of argument, if you succeed in finally kicking out this innocent woman who all her life has served her country, private practice, getting into High Court, getting to Court of Appeal, and finally Supreme Court, and the honor of being a Chief Justice, you kick her out. And MPP comes into office in 2029. You have a Chief Justice. You've set the precedent. But must we, the political leaders, subject ourselves to these? No. We can do better. And that is what I call on my friends to do. We can do better. And some of the judges at the Supreme Court who may think in one way or the other must shut their eyes. Well, tomorrow is waiting on all of us. Today we hear that some High Court judges who were to be sworn in, there was a postponement of the swearing in, and now some have been told that for circumstances beyond control, your appointment has been withdrawn. How sad. How sad. So let's be careful with this reset. The reset must be positive. The reset must be positive. Let's be careful how this reset is being managed, because there is always a tomorrow. There is always a tomorrow. We need to manage how we want to go about things. So, Mr. Kweku Sechidansu, correct? I got your name correct? We have preliminary constitutional issues to raise, and I am sure that at the right time, you will know the minorities' approach. Whatever approach you will take will be to serve the good interests of the people of Ghana, and we will do just that. On the issue of whether or not it's too early to criticize, you know, when the reins of government is entrusted into your hands from day one, the opposition must be alert. So there cannot be anything like too early in this context. You know, in the early days, they started dismissing people. My respected colleague, the leader of government business, has tried as much as he can to justify claiming irregularities and claiming that certain due process wasn't followed, etc., etc. My question is, isn't there a word in law we call ratification or rectification? Can the substance be looked at? Hasn't equity told us that where substance and form clash, substance will take precedence? So the issue is, if somebody has been employed 2 years, 3 years, 6 months, he's in office and has acquired rights and has a legitimate expectation that having conducted himself or herself well in the employ of his employer, he or she would regularly be maintained or retained. Do you come and say, because of the way you were employed? Can a man deny paternity merely because a son is out of wedlock? If it is established that indeed you are the father, the form that that child came doesn't matter. What matters is that there's a child. Is that okay? So I disagree strongly with our friends when they say, oh, some irregular, so people who have been employed must be sacked, and we don't have to talk about it. And even that motion is still pending. Leader raised a preliminary objection, and then we filed a motion to challenge it. I pray that we will be able to take that full motion. I think I feel compelled to react in one line to an issue he raised about ECG. Well, I assume that he raised it on a lighter note, but the point is that, yes, I chaired ECG board. I was appointed in July. My first meeting was end of September. So practically, I was in ECG for some 2 months. We rounded up our last meeting somewhere in December. So actively 2 or 3 meetings. However, being a private sector person, I'm an entrepreneur. When I got to ECG, the first thing I tackled, and the record will bear me out, was to deal with this issue of their suppliers being contracted to import goods at CIF value. I realized that no, it was waste. That the contractor brings the cables and dumps them at the port, and then you have so much pressure on you, and you would have to pay the duty yourself. So the supplier brings you the bill of lading. I said no. It was one policy decision I took, that no, change this from today under my leadership. Any contract that is awarded, it should be to delivery to your warehouses and at no extra cost. And that is what I did, and the board minutes would confirm that. Regarding legacy debts and all, well, I think that the two of us, the two political parties, must have a sit down on this. You see, my style is that it's not everything that we should be at each other's throats. ECG has a problem that must not be given a partisan color. ECG has problem with inefficiencies, and it's in the end affect government fiscal status. So can we sit and really agree that there must be reforms? And that is why I said on the House floor that I support reforms, but we cannot support tariff increment. So you bring 14%. The problem has not been solved. I was there. That 14%, you burden Ghanaians, but the wastage is still there. So why don't we focus and even introduce some hybrid form of privatization? Not a full-blown privatization, but we can introduce some level of private sector participation that would ensure efficiency. But leader forgot that in their previous administration, they introduced this take-or-pay agreement. I don't want to go there. But this take-or-pay, where even if you don't produce, because if you produce and it's not being used, government must pay. That one is also there, but that is not the main issue for consideration. We as minority have expressed concern about those flagship programs, the policies, that they must come as policy document. Mere mention in a budget statement is neither here nor there, and I beg to disagree with him most respectfully. Budget hearings do not provide detailed policy document. No. I've been in Parliament this is my 4th term. A Minister of State must introduce properly the policy document. In any event, the 24-hour economy policy is there. They launched it. What is stopping them from bringing same for parliamentary scrutiny? At the heart of my argument is Parliament opportunity to scrutinize. So if you say I should follow media, I should do this anyway, it's part of the politics, I understand. Let me raise the issue of the Gwinyiri situation, the insecurity at Gwinyiri, where 31 people were killed and some 50,000 plus people displaced. We, as minority, are expecting the Minister of Interior to brief the House on what is being done so far, because our caucus deputy ranking on foreign affairs was in Côte d'Ivoire and met some of our Ghanaian compatriots who have been displaced. We would come out with a full statement on this, very soon. But we expect the Minister of Interior to deal with this matter, brief Parliament, what is being done. You know, we are aware of the intervention government is making in the Boko situation, where Otumfuo has also come in to, give a roadmap for peace. We appreciate that effort. But what is happening in the Savannah region also requires similar assurances, because any Ghanaian displaced, amount to insecurity, and we need that. On the issue of the mess of 8 years, I consider those as political rhetorics. I wouldn't respond to it. We'll meet in the chamber and deal with it again. This is not a platform for debate. But I will conclude by urging leader of government business to encourage government to see to the implementation of the Agenda 111. The projects are stalling. These are state funds. This was a flagship initiative that was introduced. If truly they say they are good at implementing projects, initiatives, they don't introduce. You see, they don't introduce. They don't introduce initiatives, but they implement. Then we have introduced the Agenda 111. Please implement them. Our district needs the hospitals. Healthcare is there to our people. That is why we introduced this Agenda 111. So we'll urge leader to take that up with the health minister or any minister who has been designated to take charge of the Agenda 111. And see to the implementation. I think I've dealt with the issues that were directed at me. If there are second round of questions, we will take them before.
Abusuafoɔ ne ahwɛfoɔ ɛmu bi akɔba de ba Unidek TV so send the day adi kan a wɔbɛde answer betumi emi subscribe button no so no subscribe na for like na wetumi ahye no wegya comment was ne betumi
It's your boy Captain to the Planet. I'm here to talk to you about Unidek TV. Please subscribe to Unidek TV. Subscribe.